Welcome to Rob Schmitt tonight, reporting from Politico and, shockingly, the New York Times, showing how the investigation into Biden's corrupt, unethical, and likely illegal behavior is just as corrupt as the behavior itself. 10 days ago, Merrick Garland announced David Weiss, who'd been fecklessly investigating Hunter and Joe Biden since 2018, was going to be the special counsel into the same case. Weiss, 5 years into a no investigation, was caught red-handed trying to give Hunter a ridiculous sweetheart deal after the DOJ was called out by whistleblowers. He tried to give no jail time and cut off further investigation into the bribes the Bidens were taking for access to Joe's power. And somehow, the story has gotten even worse. From the New York Times. Earlier this year, the Times found Mr. Weiss was actually willing to forego any prosecution of Mr. Biden at all. And his office came close to agreeing to end the investigation without requiring a guilty plea on any charges. The correspondence reveals that his position, relayed through his staff, changed in the spring around the time a pair of IRS officials on the case accused the Department of Justice of hamstringing the investigation. So you see it right there. Weiss suddenly demanded that Hunter plead guilty to committing tax offenses. So David Weiss was ready to end the entire case against Hunter Biden. Wanted to end the whole thing and rush a deal that ignored rock-solid evidence of bribery and influence peddling from foreign adversaries like China. Weiss wanted to let the Biden family off unscathed after being caught red-handed in the worst corruption scandal this country has ever seen, until Gary Shapley and Joseph Ziegler blew Weiss's plan right out of the water.
I have outlined for you some instances in which assigned prosecutors did not appear to follow the normal investigative process, slow-walked the investigation, and put in place unnecessary approvals and roadblocks from effectively and efficiently investigating the case.
At every stage, decisions were made that benefited the subject of this investigation. For example, prosecutors concealed contents of Hunter Biden's laptop from investigators. DOJ slow-walked steps to include interviews, serving document requests, and executing search warrants. Prosecutors instructed investigators not to ask about the big guy or dad when conducting interviews.
A reminder there. So Weiss didn't want to do anything with this thing, and then all of a sudden those guys spoke, and then Weiss wanted to give a real quick sweetheart deal and cover the whole thing up. Weiss is part of the cover-up. He is a co-conspirator in the full-fledged effort by the Biden DOJ to conceal years of bribery and influence peddling by Joe Biden and his family, including evidence of multiple serious crimes. And as of 10 days ago, David Weiss was appointed the special counsel by Merrick Garland. And they're able to do all of this because the press has been more than happy to accept their ridiculous insistence that Weiss is not partisan because he's a Trump appointee, which is the only thing they have. When in reality, Weiss comes from a very small state that is owned and operated by Joe Biden and his lackeys. From Politico this weekend, a look at how the Bidens wanted to fight back against the possibility of Hunter being charged, and it perfectly aligns with the standard MO of the Biden family. Joe Biden using his political weight to push his corrupt agenda, this time to obstruct an investigation that was moving toward his own likely criminal behavior. Hunter's lawyer issuing a warning to the Justice Department: if they charge the president's son, the lawyers would put the president of the United States on the witness stand. Biden now unquestionably would be a fact witness for the defense in any criminal trial, Hunter's former attorney Chris Clark wrote in a 32-page letter reviewed by Politico. That is blatant political intimidation, once again using Joe's political weight to achieve a desired outcome. Don't you dare charge this son of Joe Biden, or else you're going to have him in court. That scares the hell out of any prosecutor. Par for the course, though. Hunter's lawyers argued that bringing charges against Hunter Biden would destroy the Justice Department's reputation, and in the end, as it so often is, the truth was just the opposite. The DOJ, in bed with the president's family, has millions of Americans once again questioning some of the most important institutions in this country, institutions that need to be nonpartisan but have not been since 2016. Credit where it is due, as always on this show, to CNN's Jake Tapper, clearly realizing the Biden corruption story is now getting far too big to ignore. Check out this moment.
Kessler wrote, Hunter Biden reported nearly $2.4 million in income in 2017 and $2.2 million in income in 2018, most of which came from Chinese or Ukrainian interests. But this directly goes against what Joe Biden said in the debate in 2020 with Donald Trump. Take a listen.
My son has not made money in terms of this thing about, what are you talking about, China.
Once you
None
became
of that
vice
is
president,
true.
he made a fortune in Ukraine, in China, in Moscow,
That is simply
and various
not
other places.
true.
So it's from two different debates, but I mean, Trump was right. I mean, he did make a fortune from China, and Joe Biden was wrong. I don't know that he was lying about it. He might not have been told by Hunter, but this blind spot is a problem.
So he's doing really, really well until the very end, where he says he might not have known about it. Joe Biden might not have known about this. And that's what we're hearing from a lot of the media, that is somehow insisting that there's no evidence that Joe knew anything about this, because they have to say that. Because if Joe knew, he is unelectable. And the truth is, Joe absolutely 100% knew, and Joe is unelectable. There is tons of evidence that Joe Biden has known this whole time that he was instrumental, that this was his plan. Joe Biden was using an alias to forward Hunter emails about Ukraine. We learned that last week while Hunter was making $80,000 a month at Burisma. Burisma's owner told the FBI that he paid Joe Biden personally $5 million, as well as paid $5 million to Hunter. Also, Hunter's own text message to another family member, angrily reminding her that he has to give his father half his salary. I'd say that's pretty solid evidence. Another text message to a Chinese communist telling him he's sitting next to his father and they want their money. 9 days later, the Chinese communist paid them millions of dollars, laundered through several different shell companies with their names on them, to obstruct ever figuring out where the money came from, also known as laundering. And Joe Biden was on the phone during Hunter's deals at least 20 times, according to business partner and former great friend of Hunter Biden, Devin Archer, and was in the room for big deals, according to business partner Tony Bobulinski. So anybody that says, well, we don't know if Joe knew, Joe absolutely knew. They have to say that because they can't make the incumbent president unelectable to the American people. If they say that, they're crossing a line they're not allowed to cross. But there's just a mountain of evidence sitting there right in front of all of us to see it. So when they say that there's no evidence that Joe knew, laugh. That's what they deserve.